Yeah, welcome guys. Welcome to another episode of Client Interviews. Today we have Herman. Herman, I'll let you introduce yourself, a little bit about you and where you're from, what you do, etc.
Yeah, so my name is Herman. I'm originally Australian and became a Canadian citizen actually a few years ago. Moved to Canada when I was 16 and been there since, and up until probably 2017, where I moved to Bali. Spent 2 years there, kind of just taking a break from work. And, at that time was more like a spiritual journey for me. And then met my wife, and then now moved to Malaysia. I've been an entrepreneur for about 7 years now, full time. Prior to that, I was in corporate for 6 years. I used to work for a company called Smuckers, which is a jam company. I'm sure you know
Peanut
in the
butter.
States. Yeah, peanut butter. Jif. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, so I joined Quazi's course back in November last year, and a lot has happened since then. Who I was back then and who I am right now. I feel like I've made a lot of changes for the better. I've grown so much, and I have nothing but to say, thank you, Quasi. Been an amazing journey, and I know this course has given me a lot of tools and things to continue using for the rest of my life. And I'm still using it today. I've been through the course a second time, and I'm actually planning to do it a third time.
Mm.
Just to kind of keep the material and stuff fresh. Um, Too bad we're not in my office, but I was going to show you like all my pinups and stuff. I still have it everywhere. So,
I
just a kind of
remember
a
that.
reminder.
You posted a
Yeah,
picture of that in the group, and everyone was like, "What?
yeah,
Wow!"
yeah.
The
So
whiteboard
I
and
like to keep
everything.
it. My wife and I actually like to share the board, and sometimes she's like, "Oh, I need the entire board." I'm like, "No, I need to have his notes up. I need my mentor's notes up. Can't take it off." So
That's
yeah,
awesome, man. So you
yeah,
joined like it's almost about to be. It's been 11 months. It's October now. You
yeah,
joined November
yeah,
2019. Dude, I'm
yeah.
curious to know how come you joined. What was the motivation behind you joining? What place were you in back in November? When you came on the
Yeah,
consult call.
yeah. So I remember back in that time, um, I I've tried a lot of courses, at that point, and I feel like, I did get some value, in those courses that I've bought, but I just felt like I kept coming back to the same issue, you know, and one of the main things for me was I was always worried about one of the things I was always worried about is just finance.
Mm.
It's just even when I had it, I was worried, and obviously sometimes when I struggled, I worried about it as well. So yeah, I just felt like I was just going back. I was making one step forward and taking two steps back. So I just reached a point where I just wanted to see some real results and growth. And I was watching a lot of your YouTube videos that they were popping up on my feed at the time, and I got hooked after watching a few, and then I kept watching, and a lot of the material that you're presenting resonated with me a lot. So I took the chance, took the leap to book a call, and after speaking to you, it was a very easy decision, at the time, and yeah, the rest is history.
I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear that, man. So you mentioned that you were worried about like even when you had money, there was like worry around it. How do you think that,
yeah,
you know, it's difficult because like people are at different stages, right? This is like more of a
hmm,
like I'm already an established entrepreneur. I'm doing well, but I'm suffering. Like
yeah,
internally, I'm suffering. Even when my business is going well, I'm worried about
yeah,
what could go wrong next, right? How long
yeah.
have you been like struggling with that? And I suppose how has it
Oh,
affected other areas of your life? Business wise, how has it affected it? Maybe even relationship
yeah.
with your wife. You know,
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good question. So there's a few ways to look into that. How long has that been going on? Honestly, uh, for the longest time, actually, for as long as I can remember, even when I was in my corporate job, I was doing well. I had a good life. I could say I had I'm more comfortable than, I'm sorry, I had a lot of things,
Yeah.
I had a nice car, I had a good house, I had a good paid job, I had savings, but for some reason I just kept having this worry, you know, this worry. And so it's been going on for many, many, many years, like throughout my entire entrepreneurial years to my corporate life. Even after getting out of university, I remember just trying to think, I wasn't in a bad situation like a lot of people. I was quite fortunate. I have a good, my parents were quite well off, so I never had to struggle with money. If I look at it, but I always, for some reason, just deep, emotionally, mentally, I've always worried about it. So it
Yeah.
was just something that I didn't really know what the issue was at the time.
So
So
what I'm trying to understand is why did you finally make the decision to like overcome that? Back in November, like why did you take the leap and say, you know what, this can't go on like this anymore? What
it
really
just,
happened that got you to that rock
yeah,
bottom?
I just hated thinking about it all the time. I knew I needed to make a change.
Mhm.
Just having to worry about the same thing over and over and over again. That's a sign. It's a sign that I have something that I need to address.
Yep.
You know, so it just got to the boiling point, you could say.
Right.
Sick and tired of worrying about the same thing. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
totally get that, man. Especially if you run a business, it's very easy. It's like the pain and pleasure cycle, right? Even when you're in pleasure,
yeah,
you're worried about the pain that's going to come in the future. So
yeah,
you never really live in the
and,
present moment.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of stopped me from really enjoying the successes and stuff that I had. I still always think, oh, I'm always worrying about the future. you
Right.
know. So
Right.
yeah,
So also what I want to know is how did that affect other areas of your life? That constant worry, that
yeah,
constant fear.
yeah. Okay, so I've been married for like I've been with my wife for 2 years now. But obviously, my previous relationships, now that I've gone back, I during the time I remember just always worrying about, my mind was just always focused on the worry, the money, the business,
Right.
and it did affect my relationship. Yes, romantically, it did. Because then I remember my ex-girlfriend at the time would be like, just you're here, but you're not there. Sorry, you're here, but you're not here. Your
Right.
mind is elsewhere,
Right.
right? So yeah, it did affect my relationships, my relationship at that time. And I also remember even my prior relationships, I was always worrying about the same thing as well. So it was always a repeating cycle, you know.
Mm.
So yeah,
When did
just
you
have
get
to
self-awareness around this? Like when did you really become aware that this is a problem that you need to solve?
see. The funny thing is, like I guess I've always known that this was happening, but to the point, to answer your question, when did I really, really become aware of it? I think it was probably last year. Like, yeah, like this had to, yeah, like really, really be aware that I had to change. This is
Got it.
something that couldn't go on.
Mm. And I understand
Yeah,
that, when you were there, that was like a difficult point too, because a lot of changes were happening in your business. I mean, from what I recall, if you could, fill in the gaps and the details about that, what the business was and everything. But there was like a falling out with your partner, and like maybe there was like some sort of a lawsuit that was going on.
yes, yeah.
What was that
So
business? Could you just give us a little like
so
background?
yeah, so my main business is we did precious metal trading. So what that entails is I would buy and sell. The first portfolio was raw gold. So I would travel to Africa, Ghana to be more specific,
Yep.
and I would source the gold there and I sell it to our refineries in Dubai. So my company is based out of Dubai. Um, so we did have we originally had four partners. We had a falling out with one of them because um, differences and numbers weren't adding up. So we just part ways, and then we got into a lawsuit with our supplier, a huge sum of money actually, both our own money plus our investors' money. So even till today, we are still fighting, and yeah, that's been a huge stress, you know. before.
Hmm.
The prior 3 years have been a huge stress, but I can honestly say now, especially after joining the course, I've been able to manage that a lot better and coordinate.
Mm.
And I'm actually, to be honest with you, this entire year has been tremendous. Like I'm more at peace. Um, I know how to handle myself, my thoughts, my emotions, and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I'm just in a much, much better place. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what do you think it was that was the turning point for you? What sort of tools, what did you learn from the program that kind of helped you not even just get awareness of the problem at hand, but also like help you deal with it?
Um, Consciousness, be very present, aware that I was playing these stories in my head, having these negative beliefs and kind of being awake, asleep to it, before. But now it's like I'm very quick to catch, these triggers, these negative thoughts. Very, very quick now. I mean, like, I do it so. The exercises like the centering attention and stuff like that,
Right.
waking up. Um, I really feel like I'm in control. Walking in every day in my life, I'm present, making the conscious decisions.
Mm.
What's good for me. So that's been a huge thing. Is being present, being more aware of my internal world, my the kind of things that I was telling myself, the stories, the beliefs, all those
Gotcha.
things. Yeah.
Okay. And how has that sort of translated into your business? Because I remember you moved from Canada and right now you're in Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
And you started up a new venture and that's like gone really well to
Yes.
the point where, yeah,
Yeah.
give me some highlights, to tell us some
Yeah.
big,
So yeah, the Dubai business.
yeah.
Obviously, we're in a lawsuit. That's gonna go. It's fine. I've accepted that. It's so that's doesn't really bother me as much. I kind
Mhm.
of just kind of let go and let the lawyers deal with it. So there's nothing. I can't worry about that.
Yeah.
It's out of my control right now. So that's that. Uh, so yeah. So now that I moved here, I've I still have my Dubai business with my partners, but now I've kind of decided, I made a conscious decision that I wanted to kind of venture out and kind of do some other projects of my own. Now that I'm in a new country, I'm married. So Malaysia is kind of like a new playground for me right now, kind of starting fresh. So that
Right.
was really good. Um, so there's been many things. I was doing business development for a Turkish company that wanted to get into Malaysia. And the funny thing is, ever since moving to Malaysia, it's like all these opportunities start to happen. Seems like a lot of people want to come into Malaysia, and now that I'm here, they're kind of using me to help get them in. So one of the first things, like I said, was the Turkish company. They're a railway company. They wanted to get a project
Hmm.
with the government here in Malaysia. So I was tasked to basically try to get them in. And I've never done something like this before. First of all, I don't know anything about the railway business, or
Right.
construction. That's something totally new. Um, so anyways, long story short, after 6 months of uh, networking and meeting the right people, eventually got to meet the top people from the Prime Minister's office, and I was able to invite the Turkish company into Malaysia and have meetings with with the government, and they were offered the opportunity to join a tender for this railway project for the airport in Kuala Lumpur.
Hmm.
So I think I did a recent update like a few months ago. After all this hard work, we finally got them shortlisted, which was like almost an impossible task because at that point, when I brought this company in, had already shortlisted the like 8 companies at the time. But we kind of came in and we were quite very lucky. They were very impressed with the presentation and the
Hmm.
meetings that they went to the board to get approval to add one more company, and that was this company. So that was a huge
So you actually succeeded
win
in
for
that.
me. I succeeded in getting them shortlisted, and now they're part of the tender. So that was a huge win for me because I honestly 6 months ago, I had no idea how I was going to do it. No idea.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember you were like, "Oh, I have this big interview with the government's office. Meeting the prime minister and
Yeah.
everything. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's gonna go well or not, but I hope so."
Yeah.
You were,
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
remember
then,
that.
yeah, it went really well. So yeah, that was definitely a huge win
Wow,
for me.
congratulations, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
how did that
So
deal
now,
hold up? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So now they're taking part with the tender. So
Yep.
now the next thing is to win it now. So that's kind of where we're at right now. With COVID, it's kind of a bit slow,
Yep.
and also with the cases and the instability of the government now. So it's we have 3 months till they select the company. So yeah, from now until then, probably until January next year, that's when they're going to announce the winner.
Got it.
So yeah,
If I
and it's a
recall,
huge project too. Yeah, it's
okay,
a huge project.
I
Yeah,
bet
it's
because it's
about
a railroad project. It's probably a couple hundred
yeah,
million.
it's yes, so 200 million project. I mean for the railway business, it's very small, but this is like a foot, into the door for this company to get future projects.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, that is pretty huge. I think I remember
yeah.
something. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but something about koi fishing business that you're in.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So so another project is I so it's to do with the government as well, but for another state.
Yeah.
The state's called Labuan in Malaysia. It's an island off of Kuala Lumpur, about 2 hours flight from here. So we were given the opportunity to build the first fish farm in the ocean. And so basically, I brought in my own investment. So that's kind of what I do now. I do business development, and I like to invest in projects as well. So I invested in this project. We finally, actually, because of COVID, all these things that stopped us from finishing the completion of the farm, we actually just finished officially 2 months ago,
Got it.
and we started it. We started it in Feb.
Damn.
So it took quite a long time just to get it up and running because there was all the border block, you're closed off, right? So we couldn't get the materials, couldn't get the fish, that kind of stuff. So we are growing two types of fish. One is red snapper and one is grouper.
Hmm.
And it's I would say it's a small to medium sized farm just off the coast. And something unique about this project is that the government of Labuan is giving us a lot of support. They want to use this as a marketing tool to kind of promote aquaculture in the
Gotcha.
area. So there's going to be grants and incentives and stuff like that in the future. So quite happy that we're finally up and running.
Mm.
It was stressful too, just having to wait it out and just coordinate through all the delays and stuff like that. But overall, we stuck with it and it's up and running. We're
Yeah,
quite
I
happy.
bet.
So
Like, it must take a lot of patience with all of these projects. And, from the
definitely,
sounds of it, you're like the real deal. You're the real entrepreneur going out there into like
definitely.
businesses. Did you know anything about fish farming before?
I absolutely had nothing,
Did you know anything
nothing,
about railroads?
nothing.
So you're getting into
No,
all of these things and you're just,
yeah,
crushing it.
yeah. I mean, because for me, it's like, I'm an entrepreneur at heart,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have a business where I'm selling a product or anything like that. Mine's more like project based trading. So there's not like a monthly salary or something that you would normally experience from like your business, for example, right?
Right.
So mine's more like seasonal. I close a big deal and it gets like that, right? So yeah, most of the projects that I've gotten into, I really didn't have much knowledge to begin with, and um, I kind of envisioned my life like that from way, way, way back. As I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to be an investor. I kind of envisioned my life to be an investor, something where I can participate in projects, stuff like that. So I am kind of like living that life, and I actually made that decision a year ago when I started your program.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Hold on. So,
Uh,
yeah, what I was going to ask is like, how did you even get the idea of the fish farm? And how did you even get the idea of like railroad? And how did you even go about making that decision? Because I'm sure, you know, if it were the normal person, like if it were me, I would just say
Yeah.
no. I'd be like, no. But that's just me because I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. So I'll just focus on that. You know, a lot of
Hmm.
people will just have all of these doubts and the doubts will overcome what they actually maybe wanted to achieve out of that. Right. So how
Yeah.
did you get to the point of making the decision of, okay, you know what? I've never done a fish farm before. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I was just looking back. I do remember for sure when I was given the opportunity, I definitely did feel, just like anybody, it's normal, the doubts,
Yep.
because one, I'm not in that business. You always have this, your mind is telling you, oh, what makes you so good? Like, why can't, like, what do how are you going to succeed? What are you going to do? Right? How? So, I obviously had these limiting beliefs, things that are hitting me, but I was very aware of it at the time. Right.
Hmm.
And I knew at that point that, I'm starting fresh in Malaysia. What do I have to lose? I'm an entrepreneur. I can meet people. I kind of drew a plan from then on, what I thought I needed to be, what I needed to do to get it. And as I, put pen to paper, it seemed very, very possible. And I also look back at the other projects that I've done before,
Hmm.
being in similar situations. For example, my first business, the gold, I had the same thought, but I still went and did it. You know, I I overcame that fear, made the first step, and then the rest kind of came after that. So the rest presented itself after. I didn't have the full blueprint,
Hmm.
but the important thing was I had to overcome that fear and just start it, make that first step.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So, did you, in your lifetime, you've basically been involved in three big businesses, right? The
yeah,
precious metals,
my yeah,
the railroad, and this fish
and my
farming.
fish. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, when you transitioned, by the way, what were you doing in your corporate career? What
Yeah,
was your
so I
position?
was doing a supply
Got
chain logistics. So
got it.
that's
So basically,
warehousing,
engineering.
inventory, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what made you decide to like transition from supply chain to trading precious metals? You know, I think this will be very important and like how you did it to people who are like looking to transition out of their, you know, their own corporate careers and
Yeah,
they don't necessarily want
yeah,
to go the online business route.
right. So yeah, back then, um, I always knew I gave the corporate life a try, you know, because we conditioned to do that, after university, just get a job, stuff like
Right.
that. So I tried it, but I always knew in my heart it was not something that I wanted to do, to be in the corporate life. No matter how hard I tried, I stuck it out as long as I could.
Hmm.
I did 6 years full time at a corporate job with Smuckers. That was my only corporate job ever.
Right.
Um, so I knew I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to work on my own terms. I wanted to be my own boss. These are the things that really appealed to me, and so I decided to be an entrepreneur. I didn't fully. Um, sorry, my wife. I didn't fully switch over just like that. I actually started the trading job kind of together while doing my full time job. And then when I felt like my full time job got to the point um, that it was okay, this is starting to get really serious now. Like it's a lot of traction and stuff like that. I made the decision. Okay, I need to focus on my business 100% because I can't do both.
Right. So you took the
I
leap.
can't do. I took the leap and quit my job,
Hmm.
and then immediately went full time into my Dubai business, my very first project. So so at that time, was it scary? Yeah, for sure. There was obviously the fear, like, oh, what if you fail? You have all these thoughts, right? But I knew what I wanted. I
Hmm.
knew I wanted to. I knew I didn't want to be in the corporate life.
You knew
I know that.
clearly
I
what
knew
you
that.
didn't want.
I knew I didn't want for sure.
Right. Good.
So I went and tried. let's do this. This is what I do want, right?
Right.
Whether it works out is another story, right? At that time, I was thinking, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Even in my journey, I realized like you don't need to be, like truly passionate about, unless you want to get to revolutionary levels, you don't need to be truly passionate about the business venture that you're in. Like this is going to
mm-hmm.
sound very contradictory to what I'm saying. You could just have a
Yeah,
desire of, look, I just want to make a little bit of money and just get out of that. That's still an
yeah,
impetus enough for you to be propelled into action. Because what we need is this
exactly.
impetus, right? Like, I really
Yep.
dislike this. What do I want? I want this freedom. Let's try this out. Let's see if it works out. I'll go fully into it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And that's how I got to the first 5 to 10K a month. But then if you want to scale up, really make something revolutionary, then you've got to be all in, you know,
yeah,
you've got to have that big vision. But just to start
yeah,
off,
for sure.
you're not going to think about all of those things. If you're just
Right.
in that stage, you're just going to be thinking about, I just want to get out of my job. I don't like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew the kind of life that I wanted,
Yeah.
right? And I knew the corporate life wasn't gonna give me that.
Right.
And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It could have been whatever business I wanted to do. It's just that opportunity at the time, the precious metal, seemed very appealing to me.
Mm.
Because I had an opportunity to travel to different countries. I had an opportunity to do large scale deals, trading.
Mm-hmm.
Meet a lot of people. These are all things that really really were appealing to me. So
Right.
I decided to do that.
Mm.
And I look back, even though I'm in this situation right now with that lawsuit, I've learned a lot. It's been a really good journey. I don't look at my past as bad at all. It's
Yeah.
been one growing, learning experience, one after another. And even if it doesn't work out, it's fine. It's fine because there's a lot of opportunities out there. I've gained a lot of life experiences that I know I'm okay. I'll be okay.
That's key. Just having that sort of
Yeah,
trust in life and then going back to the past and reframing all of those things to never look at it in a negative light, because that then
exactly. Yeah.
influences the future too. Yeah.
So that's another thing that's been really helpful as part of the course is
Mm.
because back then I noticed that I would stick to that negative lifeline a lot and I keep
Mm.
playing it over and over again. But now it's like because I'm more aware of it now, I switch it up and coordinate. I go to the positive light. I look at the positive side of things. So yeah,
Dude, I'm going to come visit you
definitely.
in Malaysia.
You should definitely. It's a
Yeah.
great place. If you love to eat, there's a lot of great food here.
We're going
It's
to
very
come visit your
multicultural.
fish farm and we're going to have
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
catch of the day.
I I will send you pictures of it. I have my farm right now, so I can
That's
send you.
awesome, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what I'm curious to know as well, Herman, is how do you like earn money from that? Like, do you take a percentage of the revenues after expenses?
Okay, so if it's the fish farm,
Let's
then
talk fish farm and even the railroad. Like,
yeah. So for the fish farm, it takes about 5 months to grow the fish.
yeah,
And then for the first 5 months, obviously there's not going to be any revenue. Just be the cost, the salary, and the food, the operations.
right.
After 5 months, then I can start selling it, and every month after that, we'll start selling as well. So whatever. So I own the fish. So when I sell the fish, that will be all the profit. Will be all the revenue. Sorry, from that will be ours, the company's minus the cost. So yeah, so that will be that. I'll be
So when
selling
you
every month.
when you got into that, was it your own capital that you had to invest, like all of it, or did the
My,
government support you?
so we had to build the farm first
Yeah,
and start supplying buy our own first batch of fish. After that, then we can apply to get the grants, which would pretty much cover all our future fish supply, baby fish, sorry. And yeah,
got it.
it'll be
Got it.
ours actually. Yeah, when we
Okay,
sell.
so do you have a partner in this business?
I do actually. Well, because it's Malaysia, and I'm technically a foreigner. I do have a local partner,
Yeah, that's
a good
smart.
friend of mine, and obviously speaks the language,
Right.
and actually knows the government and everything. He's actually been a huge help for me. He's someone that I met,
Mhm.
and we built a great working relationship. we're actually working together on the railway project as well.
Oh, nice.
And there's actually more projects government related coming down the pipeline. So
Damn.
it's been a good working relationship actually. Yeah, it's been really good.
You're really making your imprint in Malaysia, huh?
Yeah, I'm focused. Malaysia is going to be my base. I'm going to make something.
No, it looks like you're making a lot of improvement to Malaysia too. Like if you bring in railroads and stuff, like you're the main guy facilitating that. And then the fish farms too, supplying, you know, agriculture wise, really just making a revolution there.
There's huge opportunity. There's a huge potential for big growth for both actually. You know, and that's kind of how I looked at it too. You know, I saw, you know, if I can get into the door first, I could see it growing to something bigger down the line. Just have to make that first step and do it.
Got it. And how about the railroad project? Like, how would you earn money from that?
So if they win, we'll get like you could say like a finder's fee, a facilitator's fee. Will be 5% of the actual budget of the entire project. So
that would be like 10 million.
So if it was like so if it's 200 million, so 10% is 20, it'll be 5 million.
No,
right? No, sorry, 10 million. You're right, 10 million.
10 million, yeah, because 5% of 100 million,
sorry. It's
so you and your partner would split that 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay, then it would be like 10 million each. I mean,
so it'll be,
that'll be 5 million each.
5 million each, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty big.
So it's so that's kind of what I'm used to, you know, like these projects. This like usually a big payoffs, you know. I'm not used to getting like a monthly salary. Yeah. But when I do get that hit, you know, that win, it's usually a considerable sum that I can live for the year or multiple, whatever. So it's
right.
Yeah, quite fortunate. Yeah.
That takes a lot of like patience too, you know, to be able to persist without pay, without anything. Like, I mean, are they supporting you or funding you in any way right now? The railroad project, the guys?
No
incentives at all. Okay.
No, if I win, I have to win.
Okay.
Yeah, which is fine. But I mean, I have my other investments that's kind of giving me a monthly dividend. So I'm living off that. Yeah. I mean, if I had my Dubai business and the trading was going on, then that would provide some kind of salary as well. So yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So even during this COVID time, I thought I would be stressing out, but I'm not. I'm actually not stressing. I'm actually in a really good place. You know, things are going well, you know. Very patient now. I'm actually more patient now than I was a year ago. Patience was never my good thing. You know, I was always like, I gotta have it now. Okay, you know, what I gotta do? It's gotta happen now, you know. And
gotcha.
So yeah. Now I'm just zen.
Recently you just became a dad.
Yes.
How's that? How's dad life?
You know what? It's awesome, man. My daughter just hit 9 months.
Wow.
And she is just seeing her grow from like this small thing to like, she's so big right now. She's like 9 months, but she's wearing like 12 to 18 months clothing. And it's been great. It's been I thought it would be a tough adjustment, you know, being an entrepreneur and now having daddy duties, but it's actually been pretty smooth. You know, it's been a very pleasant journey. You know.
Yeah, I'm also curious to know, like, what is a day-to-day? Like, what is a day in the life? Let's say a regular work day for you look like? Being a dad as well, being an entrepreneur involved in all of these projects.
Yeah. So I like to structure my day, you know, especially your yearly and monthly and weekly tracker is very, very helpful. The reality planner as well. So what is my day like? It's not like a 9 to 5, obviously, and I don't have something to sell every day. So it's like not every day I'm going to be busy. In the beginning, when I started the course, which is what I wanted, yes, which is what I wanted. But I had to face the reality that, you know, it's I'm not always going to be busy, and I shouldn't have to force myself or try to be busy, right? So I wake up pretty early, you know, 5:30. I like to wake up before 6, you know, and do my morning routine. My morning routine is actually very important for me. Kind of sets the tone for the day. And what does that entail? I wake up, I take a cold shower right away. It's a great way to wake up, especially if you're tired, whatever. I like to do my breath work exercise. I like to do the Wim Hof, meditation, and do my stretching. And then I like to go hit the gym. All get that done in the morning. Also, my reality planner as well,
Right.
and my visualization as well, all that kind of stuff. So that's my morning routine.
Self-mastery guide, right?
Yeah, the mastery guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after I've done all that, I usually have my 5 important things to do that I list. And my 2 things, I always like to focus on the business. So whether it's my projects, meetings, stuff like that, I usually schedule those in. Those are my top 2 things. And then the other 3, usually I like to work on myself. So I like to read. I like to journal, and maybe if I wanted to include like another meditation, to kind of clear my mind. So yeah, and then usually by early or just after lunch, I'm usually pretty flexible and free, unless I had meetings, of course.
Right.
And I like to dedicate that time to my family, to my daughter. So I like to give uninterrupted time. And then usually at nighttime, around 6 o'clock, then I have to start working on my other business, my Dubai business. So my other partners are in Canada, in Dubai. So I work in that time zone.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I'm always usually during the day, quite flexible. So I'm usually working in the mornings and nighttime. And then yeah, during the day I'm usually it's Isabella time, my daughter.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, you must be waking up a lot in the middle of the night, like for your daughter.
Oh yeah. Even right now, she moves a lot. She now sleeps sideways. She sleeps between me and my wife, and then for some reason she's just sideways. Her head is in my back, and her feet is like kicking my wife's back.
You don't put her in a separate cot?
We used to, but my wife's really attached.
Okay. I'd get scared of crushing like my daughter. Like if I'm asleep, like and I'm too spread out or something.
Yeah.
If you have a big enough bed, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. So.
That's
how about you? I mean, are you planning to have kids soon, or?
I mean, maybe in my 30s. I've still got a ways to go. But not in any rush.
There's no rush.
Yeah.
There's no rush, I mean, I'm 30, turning 37, so I'm quite late.
So you had your daughter when you're 36, basically, right?
36, yeah.
Nice. 36, 35. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good age. I would love to do that, but my wife kind of like wants kids a little bit earlier, like 28, 27. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see if the time comes, if everything's good, we're all set.
Yeah.
But yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, I was just curious to know. Then we've discussed quite a lot, but it's been inspiring to see your growth as well. I can even tell in your demeanor that you're a lot more calm, a lot more peaceful, which is
definitely
very awesome to see. That is like the change, like none of the external things really matter. If you have a shit ton of money, but you can't enjoy it and you're always worried about losing it, what's the point? As opposed to if you come from a peaceful inner state and you just, approach everything from that place of being.
And this entire journey, honestly, it was I do not regret one bit, making that decision to take that call with you. It's definitely been a life changer for me, and I know the tools that I've learned are going to continue to use for the rest of my life. I'm always using it. So it's been great.
It's amazing, man. Hey, you were diligent with it. You did the work. You had the motive, and now you're reaping the rewards of it. That's all I can say.
And that's the important thing too. Yes, you have to make sure you do the work, because if you don't, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
And also really changing your mindset and your beliefs about yourself. And that's pretty much been this course. It's changing the way I feel about myself and who I am. Yeah.
It's amazing, man. So what's next for you? Let's talk about it. What's in the next 5 years, 10 years, a big plan, a big goal?
Yeah. So aside from the projects that I'm doing right now, I see myself really building. It's funny to say. I don't know why it's cheesy to say, but my wife and I have a dream to build an empire together here together.
I think you're well
She
on the
has
way
a
to doing
very
that.
she has a very successful business, and I want to do well in Malaysia. So the next 5 years, maybe get a bigger house, have another kid. So yeah, I think those are the main ones. But I in the next 5 years, I see myself and my wife, also doing more charity stuff as well. We've actually started to do that right now. Quite passionate about helping others. So that's we'll see where that takes us. But that's
amazing.
I think we've had this conversation before. I kind of see myself when I hit my 40s to be someone of a mentor as well, to kind of share my life experiences, whether that's going to be entrepreneurial stuff or spiritual stuff. These are things that I'm really starting to feel like I'm passionate about. So, yeah.
Herman, this has been an amazing interview, dude. Thank you so much. It's like really late. I know probably past your bedtime if you're waking up at 5:30.
No worries. No worries. Anything for you. Anything for you. You've been a huge impact for me. So whatever I can do,
Thank you so much,
to give
man.
back.
And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope this was valuable. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of it. I'm going to attach Herman's socials in the pinned comments. So yeah, give him a check out.
I've just made my IG public, so you guys can visit it. I'll give you
nice.
the name.
I'll do
yeah.
the IG handle and like maybe your website or email or anything else,
Yeah.
for inquiries.
Sure.
But
yeah, for sure.
Anything else today before we conclude? Any last bits of wisdom, advice you'd give?
Oh wow, it's being put in the spot.
You don't have to.
No, because like usually if you see my IG, I always like to leave posts and stuff. I don't know right now. I'm just like I just drew a blank. But if I have to say something right now, okay. One thing that has stuck to me a lot, even because I've learned it from you, and what you made me realize is that your outer reality is a reflection of your inner world. So always be aware of the things that you're telling yourself, your mindset, and your beliefs. If you want to change what you're experiencing, your environment, your reality, then the change has to start from within yourself and how you view yourself.
Amazing, man. And 100% true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for today, guys. Till next time.
Thank you.
All right.